They're hungry for a comeback. Which brings us to the big question. How exactly do you hijack a hijacked show? Dylan finally gives the team a target. We've got a corrupt tech tycoon named Walter Mabber, and he's about to launch a chip that can steal the personal data of literally every person on the globe. So, the plan is classic Horsemen. They infiltrate Mabber's highly anticipated tech launch right in New York, step onto the stage, and get ready to expose this massive invasion of privacy to the world. But right at the peak of their triumph, the impossible happens. The hijackers are hijacked. Their stage, their screens, the whole shebang is taken over by an unknown entity.
The screens flash and boom, the deepest, darkest secrets of the Horsemen are broadcast to the entire world. I mean, the crowd absolutely gasps when it's revealed that Jack Wilder, the guy everyone thought died in a fiery crash a year ago, is very much alive. But the real killing blow? The broadcast exposes Dylan Rhodes. The exact FBI agent leading the manhunt against them is revealed as the true mastermind behind the Four Horsemen. In a fraction of a second, the hunters become the hunted. The FBI swarms the place, the stage just descends in absolute chaos, and the team is forced into a desperate, blind escape.
In their frantic flight to get out of there, they dive into an emergency safety chute on the roof of the building. It's a standard escape protocol, right? But as they slide through the dark and tumble out the other side, the air feels different. The sounds are completely wrong. They look around, totally disoriented, and realize they aren't in New York anymore. They just emerged from a metal chute straight into the neon-lit streets of Macau, China. And it's in this terrifying moment they realize that control is often just an illusion. Now, what's absolutely crucial to understand here is the timeline. One single second. That's all it seemed to take for them to travel thousands of miles across the globe. How is that even possible? Well, the answer lies with the architect of this whole trap, Walter Mabber. Walter is actually the son of Arthur Tressler, the vengeful billionaire the Horsemen ruined back in their first outing. And Walter didn't use magic to pull this off. He used extreme deep-level hypnosis. He basically put them to sleep, flew them all the way across the world, and timed their wake up precisely as they exited that chute to completely shatter their reality. That brings us to Phase 2, the Macau chip heist.
At this point, Walter holds all the cards. He blackmails our disoriented team, telling them that if they want to stay alive, they have to steal a specific world-hacking decryptor chip from a highly guarded vault in Macau. Left with absolutely zero alternatives, the Horsemen get to work. They track down the oldest magic shop in Macau, this dusty, mysterious little place run by a guy named Lee and his grandmother. And it's here, hidden away in the quiet shadows of the shop, that they grab the highly specialized gear they'll need for this impossible heist.
What happens next inside that high-security facility is just a masterclass in pure coordination. Let's break down the sleight of hand. They manage to acquire the chip, but heavily armed guards immediately lock down the room for a rigorous search. So the Horsemen execute this flawless, silent ballet. Step 1. They secretly stick the microscopic chip to the back of a regular playing card. Step 2. As a guard pats Daniel down, he casually tosses the card right into the air. Step 3. Merritt snatches it mid-air without breaking a sweat, conceals it, and snaps it across the room to Jack. And Step 4. Jack seamlessly catches it and tucks it right into Lula's clothes.
It's incredible to watch. The card literally dances around the sterile white room, moving from hand to hand, completely hidden in plain sight, while guards are practically tearing the place apart. This perfectly illustrates a core principle of misdirection. Human perception can be utterly hijacked if you control expectations. The guards are desperately looking for a computer chip, not a playing card. So the extraction is a total success, performed right under the noses of guys holding automatic weapons.
Moving on to Phase 3, Betrayal in the Deep. Meanwhile, back in the States, a panicked Dylan Rhodes has actually broken his old nemesis, Thaddeus Bradley, out of prison just to help track his team down in Macau. But the Horsemen are starting to fracture. Daniel Atlas thinks Dylan has lost his edge, so he goes rogue. He heads to a bustling Macau market all by himself to hand over the chip, having absolutely no idea Walter is setting them up for a double cross. The tension just snaps. Walter's goons surround Daniel. But then, seemingly out of nowhere, Dylan arrives. He takes on the attackers single-handedly in this brutal, desperate brawl just to buy Daniel time to escape. Daniel gets away, but Dylan is captured. This is when Walter and his father, Arthur Tressler, finally step out of the shadows. And they don't just want Dylan dead, they want poetic, agonizing revenge for the fortune he cost them. They coldly throw the tragedy of Dylan's life right in his face. The death of his father, the great magician Lionel Shrike, who drowned in a locked safe during a stunt decades ago.
In a profoundly cruel move, Walter has Dylan tied up, locked inside an exact replica of his father's safe, and tossed straight into the pitch-black, crushing depths of the ocean.
The water rushes in, the air runs out. It's a terrifying scenario. But remember, the Four Horsemen are a family. There is no way they're letting their leader suffer his father's fate. Daniel and the team dive into those freezing waters. Working together, they miraculously pry the safe open, pull a lifeless Dylan out from the depths, and revive him just in the absolute nick of time. But as they're finally catching their breath, a really grim realization sets in. That world-hacking chip they just risked their lives for? It's a fake. Walter played them from the very beginning.
Now we enter Phase 4, the London Plane Prestige.
Backed into a corner, the Horsemen go entirely on the offensive. They blast a massive challenge out across social media, announcing their biggest live magic performance ever, set for New Year's Eve in London. It's a blatant trap, and Walter, Arthur, and Thaddeus take the bait, rushing to London to finish the job. The entire city basically becomes their stage. In one absolutely breathtaking sequence, Daniel Atlas commands a public square and seemingly controls the elements. He stops the falling London rain dead in midair. Then he sends the droplets rushing back upwards toward the sky, before falling backward and vanishing right into a puddle. The crowd is totally mesmerized. But you see, this massive spectacle, it's really just a distraction.
Because under the cover of all that chaos, Walter's highly trained mercenaries strike. They snatch all four horsemen, along with Dylan, dragging the whole team onto Walter's private jet. As the plane roars into the night sky, Walter violently takes the real chip back from Dylan. Arthur Tressler is just sitting there smiling, savoring his vengeance. And then, deciding to tie off all the loose ends, Walter opens the door of the aircraft. One by one, he throws Dylan and the four horsemen out of that flying plane straight into the pitch-black void.
Now what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer staggering scale of the turnaround. Walter and Arthur look out the window to watch their enemies fall to their watery graves. But the bodies aren't falling, they're just floating outside the window. Suddenly, the roaring jet engines stop. The night sky literally drops away, and they hear the roaring cheers of a massive crowd. That jet, it never even left the ground. The turbulence, the wind, the clouds rushing past the windows, it was all an incredibly elaborate practical illusion. They are sitting on a stationary broadcast set built right onto a barge in the middle of the River Thames. And every single confession of murder, every boast of corruption Walter and Arthur just made inside that cabin was broadcast live to the entire planet. The FBI storms the barge, and our villains are finally put in handcuffs.
Which brings us to our final act, Phase 5, the Eye Revealed. In the quiet aftermath of it all, Dylan and the Horsemen are summoned to a hidden sanctuary at the Greenwich Observatory, and waiting for them there is Thaddeus Bradley. For 2 whole films, we, along with Dylan, were completely convinced that Thaddeus was a bitter enemy, the man who ruined Lionel Shrike. But the truth is actually far more complex. Thaddeus was Lionel Shrike's closest partner, and on top of that, he's revealed to be a top presiding member of the elusive secret society, the Eye.
Thaddeus looks at Dylan, the son of his dear old friend, and calmly explains his whole agonizing journey. The exposure, the blackmail, the near drowning in the safe, he allowed all of it to happen to test them. It was a brutal initiation meant to forge them in fire and prove they were truly worthy. Having passed this ultimate test, Thaddeus formally steps down, appointing Dylan as the new leader of the Eye and cementing the Horsemen as the true guardians of the magic world.
So, we've just examined a story where every given truth was a fabricated lie, where the supposed masters of control were played like puppets on a string. It really forces us to look beyond the surface and reflect on our own perceptions. So look closely at the screen right now. If the absolute greatest deceivers in the world can be utterly blinded by a well-crafted narrative, I leave you with this: how much of your own reality is just